Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got the best teams to use in EA College Football 25 Dynasty mode. Let's check this out.
Sports College Football 25.
Bengals already played the game already.
So let's
you know what I'm saying? Like an early version of the game.
Make perfect choices for your main dynasty.
Let's see what this is about,
25.
man.
And before we jump into things, I will say, if your main goal is I can't wait to get the game, I'm going to rebuild Alabama. Roll Tide. We're going.
But that's definitely going to be my Dynasty mode team, bro.
This is probably not the video for you.
100%.
Yes, there are some medium tier teams in here, some 3-star type teams. Maybe
I might even do rebuilds too.
Type team, but mainly this is going to be some of those teams that you really need to build up these programs and.
Why did he say it like that?
To
programs.
be champions, because they're not already and probably haven't been. At least not at the Division I FBS level. Kick things off with Army, or really any of the military schools. It's really not college football without the military schools. You got good, hard-nosed, running the damn football, ground and pound. None of this passing, air raid bullshit. This is about true football, running the ball down your opponent's throat. And nobody does that quite like the military schools.
What
we can
the
leave that,
fuck?
but they also are incapable of throwing the ball. You got the wishbone, flexbone, triple option. You can get even fancier if you want, the inverted veer, like the classic power read.
Bro, that crowd is jumping,
the best
gang.
athletes here at Army, Navy, Air Force, right? LSU is going to beat you 62-0, but
Holy
you can sleep
shit.
well at night, knowing you are a true patriot and you're not tarnishing the game with this air raid crap. Next up is James Madison, a team that has found success, but at the
didn't they go undefeated last year?
They made the jump to FBS last year. They're of course going to be making their appearance in the FBS in College Football 25. You can look for bowl win #1. That's always fun. Their uniforms are great, kind of like a more regal feeling ECU. ECU is kind of like the white trash James Madison, where JMU is like the refined aristocrats of the South. You have the brick backdrop in the stadium. It just looks really nice. Although I will say, check out these ECU uniforms. These actually look really, really good. Maybe I'm not giving ECU enough credit.
Hey, those are fire though. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
And their bowl looks like a toilet seat. But overall, I think choosing James Madison, you know, you get really awesome looking uniforms, plus the really cool looking stadium in a cool setting, and the grind of just joining FBS football and trying to take them to the top. And we'll follow that up with the Akron Zips. I'm going to be honest with you, there's really nothing to get excited about with Akron. You can be in-state rivals with Ohio State, I guess. If you really want one of those where there's nothing to be excited about and you just want pain, this is it. Choose Akron. You get Ohio State week 1 on the 2024 schedule. It's like
bro, Ohio State's gonna blow the fucking backs out. Pause.
Basically nothing. You know, I'm not sure if they would have made this list, but then I saw the gameplay reveal trailer, or just the regular reveal trailer. Like, I gotta add Wyoming. You get the Wyoming. It's the highest NCAA Division I football stadium in the country with an elevation of 7,200 feet.
Damn.
You got the snow coming down in the trailer. I was transfixed with Wyoming. You can recruit the next Josh Allen. You can try to produce another top 10 pick out of Wyoming.
I forgot Josh Allen did go to Wyoming.
You should pretty much have access to no good recruits at all. And really, throughout the entire region, there's not really much to pick from.
Okay.
I do kind of like the brown and yellow that Wyoming has going on.
That fits fire. I like that unique.
Wouldn't have thought that I would say that a few years ago, but it's kind of grown on me watching the San Diego Padres a bit in baseball. I think the brown and yellow is actually kind of a nice look.
Doesn't the Broncos have something kind of like that?
And
like the brown and yellow?
Struggle of trying to bring any recruit rated above 3 stars to Wyoming. Sam Houston State's kind of a fun one. Of course, you have a lot of really good recruiting schools in Texas, even if the mainstream success hasn't been there lately. But there are a lot of options to choose from. Of course, at the top you have Texas and Texas A&M. SMU's kind of on the rise a bit. And then you have some more established teams like TCU and Baylor. Texas State's been an FBS school for a while. But Sam Houston State also making the move up to Division I FBS. I do kind of like the orange aesthetic. I know that's not going to be for everybody. With Sam Houston State,
I kind of like the all orange.
Twins,
even though that shit is bright as fuck, but
a draft crush of mine from a small school.
I kind of like it.
Ended up getting drafted by the Bucks. Not a lot of NFL prospects from Sam Houston State, to be honest. But, of course, this is kind of a hotbed of recruiting talent. if Texas and Texas A&M aren't getting some of those real top guys, maybe you can get a couple that slip through the cracks and end up at Sam Houston State. Kind of a fun team early into FBS. So this could be maybe an interesting grind. Hawaii, I feel like, is always going to be one of those schools that makes these type of lists for me. You know, it's kind of an interesting challenge. Here. Yes, it is the USA, but it's pretty far separated. That's how there can be sneak attacks and nobody notices for a little while. But out in Hawaii, I mean, who are you going to recruit? You got Manti Te'o and his cousins, and that's kind of about it. You can kind of like try to get the California pipeline going a bit, but Hawaii is so isolated. You got no more Pac-12 really after dark. Maybe Mountain West after dark is the next best thing. But overall, you just get the Hawaii setting. You're on an island. It's tropical. You've had some legends of the game like Colt Brennan, RIP, who you could try to find the next one. Boise State might be my favorite one on this.
I like their field.
List. They got their first ever 5-star in Chris Marshall, who is not your typical 5-star. Got kicked out of A&M. Texas A&M, multiple in-season suspensions, went to JUCO, ended up being the #1 JUCO player in the nation, transfers to Boise State. You also have another former 5-star in Malachi Nelson transferring from USC. I didn't even know about that
I remember him
recently. So another 5-star going to Boise State, even if not 5-star as a transfer. Ashton Jeanty is one of the most fun running backs in all of college football. Could be a high draft pick. So there is actually quite a bit of talent at Boise State for the first time in a while. Another cool setting, kind of like Wyoming. You get the high elevation. You got the snow games. You're kind of up there in the mountains a little bit. You got the blue field, which isn't going to be for everybody.
I love their blue field.
Probably, if everybody's me, I'm probably not a huge fan of the blue field, to be honest. It's cool, but I don't know if I love it that much. But also, you get to compete.
It's probably going to be hell to play on it in the game, though.
It's hard enough to get those guys out there already.
But I still like
the
field.
When you're competing against Oregon and Washington, who have both been quite good lately, even though Washington, of course, lost Kalen DeBoer. We'll see how they bounce back with a new head coach. But I will say, it's not going to be easy to get top-tier recruits to go to Boise State. You're a lower-tier conference, even with the Pac-12 not existing anymore. Of course, Oregon and Washington moved to the Big Ten. Super weird, but already you're going to have recruits that don't want to play in a lower-tier conference, already don't want to go to Boise, Idaho. So good luck. Probably the best overall team on this list is the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They are typically around the bottom of the Big Ten. They've had a couple decent years, but this is not going to be an easy job.
Shout out Rashad Bateman.
Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State in the Big Ten for some of that top-tier talent. It's not going to be easy to get some of these top guys going up to Minnesota. It's historically pretty hard to recruit in the region. Minnesota doesn't produce a lot of top-tier talent. You know, we think about these top states for football players and recruits. It's your Floridas, your Texas, California,
Florida
Ohio.
And Texas is the main ones.
Minnesota. So in-state recruits are going to be a little bit tough to get if they are any good. And if they're not good, that's also a problem. They're not very good because they want to go
I feel like
Minnesota.
South Florida is definitely where all the
but maybe one of the
athletes
biggest
are at.
driving forces for picking Minnesota, they have endless uniform combos. I think I heard something like they have 20-plus different helmets to choose from.
Damn.
20-plus different helmets?
20-plus?
Jerseys you can really mix and match.
Bro, how do you even come up with 20-plus different helmet combos?
And that is a big part of this. I'm going to be honest.
Crazy.
If you're choosing a Dynasty team, you got to have a fun time looking at them. Not too much fun. Let's take it easy. But uniform customization is a really fun part of it. Of course, you can do team builder as well. But if you're doing a real school, a real team, Minnesota's not a bad option. They're one of the best teams that you could probably pick in this. But it's still not going to be easy competing with the top-tier talents in the Big Ten. Another new addition to the FBS, it's Kennesaw State. First off, you get cool uniforms. I like the yellow vibe that they're going for. You got Bronson Rechsteiner was a monster.
Braun Breaker.
Come to find out, he's actually a WWE wrestler now.
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker.
Yes, sir.
WWE guy, but that's kind of a cool thing.
And he's a former Baltimore Raven too, so that's nice.
Fullback highlights. It was super fun to watch when he was a prospect coming out, even if he was never going to be anything special. You have the new addition of metro area recruiting, so it's no longer just the hotbed of talent that is Georgia, but Kennesaw is right in that ATL metro area, and you can recruit some of the best talents that Atlanta has to offer. So you're competing with Georgia, arguably the best school right now in college football, even though Michigan, of course, won the title last year. Yeah. Georgia, sitting right in a monster hotbed of talent in the Southeast. Couple championships over the past few years. I know they didn't make the playoff last year, but they still were probably about the best team in the nation. Although I think, Michigan would have given them a tough run for their money for that championship, of course. But Georgia, even though they didn't make the CFP, as good as it gets, and that could be eventually your main rival as Kennesaw State here. I think, an eventual move to the SEC is probably what you're aiming for, and it still won't get much easier. So you got a big grind if you're Kennesaw State, but it's doable. And you can schedule Georgia once per year and get your ass kicked if that's what you're into. And then finally, I decided to go with Cal. Maybe just because I wanted to talk about how weird it is that they moved to the ACC, the Atlantic Coastal Conference. Look where Berkeley, California is on a map. It's not near the Atlantic Ocean. I know conferences matter less and less and less now. But that's kind of an interesting commute.
I think Cal is
California to play all those teams in the ACC,
they're in the middle of being a good team and a bad team, because they put up some good fights last year, especially against USC.
Weird.
But USC's defense was atrocious. So
fancy. You have Jaden Ott, who's a really fun running back to use. You can use him probably for 1 or 2 years, depending on if he declares for the draft or not. Of course, you have to compete with top tier schools within your region. UCLA, USC, obviously, Oregon, even Texas is pulling guys out of California. So it might not be super easy to get recruits. And of course, you're in the ACC. It's just bizarre. But those are 10 options to choose from. Plenty of others to name as well. If you want another top tier school, Miami could be an interesting choice because they just suck every year. And then really any of these super small schools.
Bro, I feel like Colorado might be the main team. A lot of people are going to be using.
List goes on and on. Mix and match. Here are some options to choose from, but we'll see what happens with the game actually.
I'm obviously going to choose Alabama because I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide fan.
Choose the worst rated team in the game if you want the toughest grind.
You said what?
In your best interest to choose the worst rated team in the game.
That would be a great rebuild video.
Make sure to subscribe for more College Football 25 content in the future. I'm going to be posting a ton of it when the game is out, and of course some videos like this before it comes out. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.
Hey man, WVish, shout out to Bengal for the video, bro. What do you guys think? Y'all let me know what team y'all gonna use when the game comes out. Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on my post notifications, get notified whenever I drop another banger video. We're on the road to 200 subs. I'm gonna get there for more banger content like this. And without further ado, I'm out. Gang.